It was nearly midnight when Erica finally started putting away the stacks of paperwork spread across her dining room table. As the director of a small nonprofit, late nights playing catch-up on grant proposals and program reports were becoming a regular part of her routine. She gathered the last few folders and paused, closing her eyes for a moment as a yawn overtook her. With her small two-bedroom house in utter darkness and silence all around, she was suddenly aware of how completely alone she was. Shaking off the unease, she reminded herself there was nothing to be afraid of. Erica made her way into the kitchen and began loading the dishwasher, still blinking away her exhaustion. That's when she heard it, a heavy crashing sound from somewhere downstairs. Her heart leapt into her throat as she froze, straining to decipher what could have made such a noise in the still of the night. She waited with bated breath, half expecting to hear the scuttling of an intruder rummaging through her belongings. But after several minutes of silence, she began to wonder if she had imagined it. Flicking on lights as she went, Erica did a sweep of the main floor but found nothing amiss. As she entered the living room, eyes scanning for any signs of disturbance, her phone suddenly rang on the table. Startling her so badly she yelped. Fumbling to answer with trembling hands, she was surprised to see the 911 operator on the line before she'd even placed a call. "Miss, this is 911 dispatch. Are you all right? We received an open line with sounds of disturbance coming from your location." Erica tried to steady her quivering voice. I'm not sure. I think I heard a crash from downstairs, but I haven't found anything wrong so far." She listened intently as the operator instructed her to wait by the front door while police were dispatched. But even as backup was on the way, Erica couldn't shake the chill dancing along her spine, or the sense that someone or something was in the house with her. That's when she heard the unmistakable creak of floorboards directly above her head. Inspector Jeff Walker rubbed his eyes wearily as he stepped out of his cruiser and into the frigid night. The call had come in around 12:15. Possible home invasion in progress at 64 Oak Street. As he approached the solitary two-story Victorian at the end of the block, all seemed eerily still. No patrol cars had arrived yet. He rapped firmly on the oak front door. "Police, call out if you're inside." No answer. Testing the knob, found it unlocked. Drawing his weapon, Jeff slowly pushed the door ajar, piercing the blackness with his flashlight. The beam swept methodically across an empty foyer. Checking each room on the lower level, found nothing awry. His blood ran cold, climbing the stairwell. On the wall beside him, streaks of red broke the pale blue paint in morbid brushstrokes. Jeff inspected the fringes, but found no weapon or culprit lingering. Only a blood-spattered banister greeted him upstairs. One bedroom was in disarray. The other door ajar held an answer no mind could fathom. Overcome by the scene, he stepped back, gagging, radioing urgently for forensics and a coroner. In the following hours, Jeff guided the investigation meticulously, while deep in thought. 2 previous home invasions in the same neighborhood stood unsolved from last month. At each, residents vanished without a trace after signs of struggle. Could these all be connected? Retracing the steps later alone, fleeting memories flooded back. A teenage boy bleeding out in his arms, pleading for help that never came. Had he failed to protect others once more? Driving home through the swirling snow, Jeff replayed every haunting detail, tormented by the question, what evil prowls in the darkness beyond human comprehension? Jeff arrived early the next morning to comb through the crime scene again. Nightmares of the previous cases and last night's gruesome discovery kept him pacing through the wood, florid halls, hunting for any clue overlooked. A new lead came in the form of a call from the station. Erica had woken and, despite the trauma, insisted on providing her statement in person. Jeff arrived to find her wrapped in a blanket, eyes red and puffy, recounting the terror of last night to the attending officers through choked sobs. I keep seeing her face, the look in her eyes. Erica shuddered, hands trembling. Why did no one come sooner to help? Jeff sensed her grief masked deeper trauma and loss from the past still festering within. After her statement, Jeff offered to drive Erica home for safety. An uncomfortable silence hung in the car until Erica broke down. It's happening again, just like before. I couldn't save her either. She told of a close friend's mysterious death. Years prior. Ruled an accidental overdose, but never sitting right with Erica. That night, Jeff dug into dusty records, uncovering similarly dubious past cases possibly connected to Erica's friend. A disturbing pattern emerged, all females, dying under strange circumstances with incomplete investigations. Jeff tossed and turned, gripped by dreams where each victim cried for help at his blindness. He awoke drenched in sweat, clutching at fragments of a face, glimpsed among the shadows. Racing to the station at dawn, his search zeroed in on one suspect with means and secrets still concealed. Erica sighed as her shaky hand slid the mug of tea away, untouched. Days had passed in a haze since that night, each hour dragging like an eternity alone with her swirling thoughts. A knock roused her from her stupor. Through the peephole, Officer Walker greeted her solemnly. "May I come in? I think I've found something." In her living room, Jeff laid out crime scene photos side by side, connecting strands between the recent attacks and cold cases. His lead suspect was Earl Thompson, a reclusive man who lived near each victim. "The bastard's been doing this for years under our noses," Jeff said grimly. But without hard proof, they had no grounds to arrest. Erica recognized Earl from around town and recalled uneasy encounters like being leered at from his window. That night, hidden fears began manifesting as vivid nightmares. Earl lurking outside, toying with her behind closed eyes. She awoke, drenched in icy sweat, paralysis rooting her in place. Outside, trees clawed at glass like bony fingers. The next evening, Jeff showed up with pizza, insisting she not be alone. As they talked, buried emotions cracked Erica's guarded shell. Years of blaming herself for not preventing tragedy, slowly lifted under his caring words. A creak snapped their conversation. Under the couch, Erica froze as two dark eyes peered back, letting out an inhuman whimper. Jeff flung himself over her just as a figure lunged from the shadows. In the scuffle, the man's visage was unveiled at last.